I have a list of newly anticipated 2024 book releases, which I've been collecting for this video, so I've been really excited to read them. But I want to see how many of them are 5 stars, and in my opinion, I feel like most of them will probably be 4 stars leading up to a 5 star. But I'm so excited to read these books because I've been wanting to read them for a while, but I've just been holding off so I could create this video. The first book that I want to read is 𝐸𝐮𝐬𝐬's Map of the Other Lands, which is the second book to 𝐸𝐮𝐬𝐬's Encyclopedia of Fairies, and I did not expect to love that book so much, but it was so good because you would think it's boring since it's a cozy fantasy, but I don't know, just something about like fairies and seeing how she grew close to the village that she was in was so warm, and it was just such a good read. And I think the thing that sealed the deal for me was the romance. If you guys have read this book, you would know, I swear, it honestly has the best confession scene that I've ever seen in my whole entire life. And I like how, in a way, the romance is kind of subtle because Emily doesn't really pick up on it. This book has been out since the 16th of January, so it has been a while since it's been out. And then we also have a third book coming out in 2025, which I'm really excited about. But also the covers in this series are so pretty. Like, I love the use of flowers and stuff like that. Oh, I forgot to add, my prediction of this book is, I think, a 4 to 5 stars because I gave the first book a 4 star, so I'm hoping that it will be around that range. I'm really excited because the assignment that I was really stressed about is finally over. It was a presentation. I hate presentations, and it was literally the whole day because we had to go around with all the other like presenters and kind of like watch them present, and it was so bad. But you know what? I'm home. I'm over it. I only need to do one more essay and then I'm done. And it's gonna be the holiday for me. But I have read a little bit of the Map of the Other Lands. As of right now, because I'm only at the beginning, I don't really have a lot of thoughts about it. I was gonna read it in the morning when I was commuting, but then I ended up falling asleep because I was really stressed last night, so I didn't really sleep well, and I needed that like little nap on the train. It is really nice to revisit the characters again, and we're also introduced to a new character, which is Emily's niece, and also this guy named Rose. It is pretty interesting though, because I feel like we're getting more lore in the world. I've been reading a little bit more of 𝐸𝐮𝐬𝐬, which so far I'm really enjoying. It's just so comforting to read because it's really slow, but you get immersed into this world of fairies, which I find really interesting how everything in this book is focused obviously on fairies, and how there's literally a school for the study of fairies, which I think is just really cool. Imagine studying there. I wish I could study about fairies rather than what I'm actually studying in uni. But I just really like the writing and how whimsical it feels, and I can't wait to see how the story develops even further, because as of right now, we are still setting up for the rest of the story. You know what my favorite thing about this book is? It's the Fae. We get to see Poe again, who is the cutest little brownie ever. He was my favorite thing in book 1. Oh my god, just like the idea of like a tiny cute little Fae that you can keep in your pocket. He's just so pure. He's so cute. I love him, and I'm so glad we get to see him again. I honestly don't know what a brownie looks like though, because as of right now, I'm kind of in my head envisioning him to look like Groot. Not gonna lie, they look kind of ugly. They look, from the pictures that I'm seeing, they look like a mixture of like Dobby the Elf, or they look like these creatures that I'm seeing on Pinterest. But otherwise, I think the vision that I have in my head is a lot more nicer. We also get introduced to another Fae who Emily names Snowball. The thing is, he's described as very aggressive, and scary because he basically harmed her and her colleague. But then she helps him wash his hands after they like eat some bread. And then it was like he swiped his hand over his ears a few times like a cat, and then to my astonishment and dismay, he hopped into my lap, curled himself into a ball with his tail over his nose, and went to sleep. I think I'm just like a sucker for cute little things, even though they may be scary. If you're like little and you do things like this, you're cute to me. I honestly just think it's funny how like she gets involved with so many different fairies. Like obviously she's studying them, she's really interested in them, but also she has a fairy brownie friend. She has this Snowball, I don't know what he is. She just attracts a lot of fae people. Now that I think about it, she literally, yeah, a lot of fae. I finally finished reading Emily Wilde, which, not gonna lie, this did take me a little while to finish. I think because I went into it knowing that it was a cozy fantasy, but I honestly think that during the time of when I read it, I wasn't really into reading cozy fantasies because I was reading it and I was like, yeah, this is a little bit boring. But at the same time, I did really enjoy the writing and the overall vibe of this book, so I am excited to read the sequel. But yeah, I think just at the moment wasn't really in the mood, didn't really have any motivation to read it, which is why I didn't find myself picking it up that often. But I'm gonna start reading Bride, which I've been wanting to read this book for ages, ever since it came out, and there has been a lot of controversial thoughts about this book because I know people are a little bit weirded out by werewolf books, but not gonna lie, it's kind of my thing. Like, I kind of do like it, and I don't really know if I should admit that on the internet because at the same time it's kind of embarrassing. However, I feel like it was because of my Wattpad days, because the stories I would read were either like the bad boy stories where it was always the shy girl with the popular guy, or it would be werewolf books, which I don't know why. Something about those two things I really liked reading about. It's either me projecting what I want in a relationship, but through reading those, because I was very young back then, I did learn what a toxic relationship was. So maybe it was a good thing that I read them. When it comes to 𝐸𝐮𝐬𝐢𝐬𝐻, I feel like the star ratings have kind of gone down. I loved the Love Hypothesis, gave it 5 stars and everything, and then ever since then it went down from like 4 stars to 3 stars. So we'll see how many stars I give this book. I'm just hoping, like, please, that the male lead is actually interesting to read about, because I really disliked all the male leads in her previous books because they always fall in love with a female lead out of nowhere, and it's like, why do you even like her? They also have no personality. They're like a plank of wood. Not gonna lie, the jokes in this book kind of funny. Look, I barely read anything. She's basically gonna marry this werewolf, and I think it's an agreement between the two families. I don't really know. And then this guy who's, I think, like doing her makeup, he says, I hope they vaccinated you for rabies while they were at it. And for a moment it didn't click in my head. Oh my god. But if you care to live a bit longer, try tossing a stick when he starts mauling you. I hear they love to fetch. This actually looks kind of creepy, but anyways, I've been reading this book, and not gonna lie, we haven't seen them together that much, but I can already feel the chemistry from the moment that they got married, from the moment they first laid eyes on each other. Not from her, but from him. I can feel it in my heart. And see, the thing is, what I was annoyed about with 𝐸𝐮𝐬𝐻's characters is that I don't really like how the male lead falls in love with the female lead first, especially out of nowhere and for no reason. But in this book, because it is like a Omega First book, the whole mates thing, honestly, I will say that that is an excuse, and within the story, completely understandable. I don't know why, I'm just like so excited to read this book. I cannot wait to see how the relationship progresses. I finished reading Bride, which I really enjoyed. It was just the type of book for me, you know, and I'm really glad that I read it because I was so excited to read it for the longest time. I really loved the development of the relationship between the two characters. I really liked the chemistry together, especially because they had an emotional connection at first rather than a physical one. I did really like both of the characters, which made it easier. I feel like this character, Lo, or however you pronounce his name, honestly had the most personality I've ever seen from an 𝐸𝐮𝐬𝐬𝐤𝐢 book, and I loved our main character Misery. Her name's a bit weird though, but she was funny. Not gonna lie, I laughed a lot at her lines. I really did enjoy this book, and I hope she continues to make like a trilogy out of it like she did with her STEM series. I am giving it a 4.5 stars because there were a lot of things that I giggled at throughout this book, but then there are also some scenes which kind of left me feeling, I guess, a little bit icky and cringed out. With those scenes, I did not giggle at. So the next book that I'm reading is The Prisoner's Throne by by Holly Jackson, which this is the second book to The Stolen Heir, and I'm so excited to read this book. You guys have no idea. I've been wanting to read this ever since I finished reading Stolen Heir, but I was kind of saving this for this video, so I'm really excited to start reading it, especially because of where the ending left off. I don't know, man. I read the Stolen Heir, loved it so much, literally read it in one sitting, so I'm excited to read this book. I did look at the reviews on Goodreads and I'm a little bit scared, but I'm hopeful that I'm gonna enjoy it. I will admit, I feel like I'm getting in some sort of reading slump, which I haven't been in a reading slump for a while, or it's not usually this bad, but I feel like ever since I started this video, I haven't really had the motivation to pick up any books, which I felt like is why I wasn't really in the mood to read Emily Wilde. Even with Bride, it took me a while to actually start reading it, but once I did, because I was really enjoying it, it was easy for me to read. So I think the issue now is that it's difficult for me to pick up a book and to actually read it. I've also been in my manhwa phase, so I've just been reading a bunch of manhwas, and I also can't tell if it's because of my last assignment. It's due today, and I've just been angry over the fact that I have to finish it because I literally have no idea what to write. Hopefully after I finish my assignment, I can start picking up the book again. I've literally only read the prologue of this book. That's it. That's all that I've read. And it makes me sad because I was so excited to start reading it, and now I'm kind of like... I finally finished reading The Prisoner's Throne, which did take me a while to read because I would read a couple of pages, put it down, and then I didn't really want to pick it up. But then yesterday I stayed up all night to finish the book. I didn't really speed read it, but I was like, I gotta finish this book tonight, and I did. I really love the writing in this whole series. I just love the writing and how easy it is to flow through, but at the same time, it really gives you that whimsical feeling of being in a fae world. I love getting the point of view of Earth, especially because he was just such an interesting character, especially because of his background and just like his power. And I loved seeing him pine over Ren and just the development of the relationship. I will say in terms of the plot, I felt like there was kind of none, but there was still something. And the way that the story wrapped up was kind of easy. Compared to the first book, I felt like I wanted something more from the ending, but at the same time, it was still satisfying to read. We also got a lot of Juden Cardin, which was quite exciting. I didn't end up giving any books in this video 5 stars, but in the end, I'm quite happy because I enjoyed all the books that I read. Let me guys know what new releases you gave a 5 star to, and I will see you guys in another video.